Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2024, and today I want to talk to you all about the cost of grace. Oftentimes we are expected to offer people grace, and I am a proponent of grace. Let me just start off by saying that. You know, I am definitely a proponent of grace. At the same time, I also realize that some people can abuse grace. They can use your grace as a license to disrespect you, as a license to take certain liberties with you, as a license to abuse you. And so there has to be limitations placed on grace. At what point do we say enough is enough and hold people accountable for their choices and their decisions and their poor behaviors? Grace can get people but so far. You know, grace is an invitation for people to change, for people to reevaluate their thinking. But at the same time, what I'm noticing in this generation is that a lot of people abuse grace. They feel like grace is a free for all. It is a get out of jail free card, if you will. It's an opportunity for them to just run amok and do anything under the umbrella of grace. They feel like, well, grace is going to carry me. And the thing about grace we must realize is that grace is an invitation to do better. It's giving you the benefit of the doubt. It's trying to offer that understanding, but there is a limit to grace, especially when you abuse it. It's kind of like kindness. When you continue to take advantage of somebody's kindness and you continue to abuse their kindness, then their kindness is taken away from you. You no longer can benefit from their kindness because of the repeated abuses of their kindness. The same is with grace. If you repeatedly abuse grace, guess what? It's going to be removed. And I think oftentimes people, they try to accuse you of being too hard on them, too judgmental, anytime you hold them to a higher standard. Anytime you say, I know that you can do better, please do better. People get all up in arms and they want to get angry, but the thing about it is this: grace is wonderful. Grace is a tool that is used to invite you. It's an invitation, you know? But what you do with that grace after it is offered, that's what's important. Now, if someone offers you grace, right? Like, for example, if they're chronically late, chronic tardiness, and you offer them a grace, like a 15-minute grace period, and they continue to abuse that, that's showing you, for one, they don't value you. They're communicating through their actions. They're letting you know that they really they don't value your presence, they don't value your time, and you understand that people are anxious. You understand that people suffer from various things, right? You understand. But what I'm realizing is that oftentimes people, they abuse your understanding. Your understanding is a drug that people abuse. Grace is a drug that people abuse. Grace, like understanding, is a drug. And it's like people will abuse anything these days. They'll abuse your understanding. You try to be thoughtful, considerate of them. They'll abuse that. So it comes to the point where you have to set a boundary and a limit. And you have to say to them, yes, I get that you're going through things. I get that you are experiencing something that's preventing you from being a reliable individual. I get it. At the same time, I can't have you in my life because I need a reliable individual in my life. Now, if you want to go around and play with those other people and be unstable and unreliable and chronically late and tardy with those other people, that's fine. But I'm looking for people that are punctual. I'm looking for people that show up. I'm looking for people that don't abuse grace and use grace as a license to co-sign dysfunctional behavior. I think, once again, people want you to endorse their dysfunctional behavior. And when you hold them accountable, when you hold out a expectation, people get mad. And that's okay. That's okay. That means that they're not right for you. Move on. Because anytime you feel, and I mentioned this in prior videos, anytime you feel uncomfortable, right? Anytime you feel uncomfortable having a conversation with somebody, a clearing conversation with somebody, that's a problem, especially somebody that you hold near and dear to your heart. If you are anxious or afraid to have that clearing conversation, that's a sign that that person is not for you. And so the purpose of this video is to invite people to stop abusing grace. Stop abusing the understanding nature of your friends, your family members, your partners. Stop, because there's going to come a point where they're going to run out of patience, run out of understanding, and run out of grace. And when that happens, they're just going to cut you off, sometimes without prior warning. So be careful how you treat people. Be considerate. Understand that when they offer you grace, they're inviting you to turn around and do better. They're inviting you to change your toxic, dysfunctional behavior. And if you choose to continue that behavior, well, then you choose to no longer have them in your life. Period. It's very easy. It's very simple. I'm so tired of people saying, offer grace, offer grace, offer grace. Baby, I offer will and grace. I offer will and grace, and it's still not enough to get people to reevaluate their behaviors. If anything, I enable people by constantly enabling them and constantly just offering grace. You enable people by constantly offering grace when they have clearly demonstrated that they abuse it every time you offer it. So the thing about it is to stop enabling people to be dysfunctional and begin to hold people accountable. And if they have a problem with that, who cares? Who cares? Remove them, because you don't need to walk on eggshells around people. You don't need to have this anxiety every time you have to confront them. You know, I'm a firm believer in carefrontation. I care about you. I care about the relationship. So I care about you enough to the point where I want to be honest with you and confront you about what's bothering me. But if I feel as though it won't be received well, if I feel anxious or afraid to have that conversation, then I can't. I have to just rid myself of that energy, you know, because people have had to have difficult conversations with me. And my thing is at the end of the day, I respected them for it. I may not always have liked what they said to me, but I can say this. They cared about me enough and they cared about the relationship enough to have those difficult conversations and not offer mere grace for behaviors that were just incorrect and inappropriate. They cared about me enough to make me better, to invite me to do better. Grace is an invitation to do better. And if you choose not to take that invitation, that's okay. You're not ready. I hear you. But that means that I'm going to have to limit my association with you. That means that I'm going to have to restrict our communication to just what's necessary. And that's it. So it's all beautiful. Let me just put this out there again. It's wonderful and advisable to offer people grace. Definitely. We're humans. We're imperfect. We fall short. You know? Grace is a wonderful gift. But when you find that that gift is constantly being abused, well, then you're going to have to reevaluate whether or not that person deserves grace or whether they deserve your absence. So I hope this video was helpful, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.